Hello, everybody. I am Peter Vaughan with Cardboard Alchemy. It is another Friday, or whenever you're watching this. We got Rosie in the chat from Cardboard Alchemy talking to you about all your questions about games, design, development. What are you playing this weekend? What do you want to talk to us about? We make Flamecraft Andromeda's Edge, which, by the way, is coming any minute. Hello. And we got a delivery. Maybe it's Andromeda's Edge. You can just put that anywhere. I'm in the middle of a stream. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. We also have Critter Kitchen coming, which is one of our games that is we're working on really hard right now. How is everybody doing? Hello. And let me know if I have any audio issues, because last week was a exploration. In fact, this week is still a different setup. Yeah, great timing on a delivery, right? Well, actually, I got a delivery. I'm going to show this box because I got this delivery yesterday, which is like, look at this thing. Oh my god! This is one of the games that we're almost. It's almost here. Almost here. That's the Andromeda's Edge. That is the box for the all-in edition. It's a massive thing that should be arriving at some people's doors very soon. Yeah, we have an update coming for Andromeda's Edge this month that will be basically, are you ready? Are you ready for this? Yeah, that's funny. Axel's like, that box has been places. Well, the funny thing about the game that we're doing, this is a new idea that we haven't tried before, which is that the entire all-in ships in it comes out of the manufacturer in the box it's going to ship in, which makes hopefully a very fast from fulfillment center to your door. That is something we're trying for this campaign. We're really excited by that. We talked to some of our fulfillment centers who are also very excited by that, because every campaign does it differently. Sometimes, you're doing this really complicated thing with 1,000 different configurations. We're going, how about you just ship all of these just like this? And I'm also really excited that our manufacturer put like really great padding in there so that the game is perfectly built for this box. It doesn't need it's completely designed to ship safely in this epic container. That's what we're really excited about, and go fast. I love the comment. I want my precious. I know it is coming. It is so close. And we've got Mark here who is ready to go with rocket ships. I love it. So, yes, Andromeda's Edge is coming. This is one of the fun. This is what I mean. Some people have asked about like what is the most fun part about making a game, which has there's a lot of moments. For example, when you crowdfund and you launch, like we are a crowdfunding based company, so when you launch that, there's all this anticipation waiting, and it's like the doors are opening, and it's this huge moment. But there's also the moment where you could first share it. You're starting to present it at conventions, but all of those are overshadowed by when somebody who went on this journey with you, believes in this product with you, comes and puts it on their table, and you hear about that. I wonder if it'll arrive by my birthday. This is always what happens this question comes up when we get close to a campaign delivering. They're like, will it make my special day? I hope it does for you. But if not, you could still count on many, many enjoyable moments after that. Ellie's saying she's going to definitely take her copy to BGGCon in November. I'm going to need your help, Ellie, at BGGCon in the way that we at Cardboard Alchemy, I don't think, are going to be there, but we are secretly hoping it is in the hot games room. I hope you'll tell us what the results are when we get to BGGCon. I have already talked to Board Game Geek about sending them some copies in case that happens. I'm mentally preparing for the possibility. Of course, you never know how things are going to go, but we are, of course, hoping this is the definitive sci-fi game to put on your shelves, to put on your table. Thank you for all the good wishes, everybody. So I'll bring on Rosie whenever she's ready, so we can chat about. Well, let's chat about whatever we're going to chat about today. I think we'll talk about a couple of crowdfunding campaigns. Hi, Rosie.
Hello.
How's it going?
It's hot in the UK again, so I'm in my never give up, never surrender t-shirt.
Gotcha. It's fair. It's fair. Good old, tough
There's
months.
just random scissors behind me, but don't worry about that.
Well, welcome.
Hello.
Are you backing anything right now?
Am I backing anything right now? I backed the Smoking Bones.
Oh, yes, that's one of the ones I want to talk about because I met Andrew Bosley at RageCon. Like, I've been talking with Andrew Bosley before, but I had never met Andrew in person. And we're really excited by the fact that the Smoking Bones is like his personal project. You know, did Everdell, known for his art on a lot of games, you know, the Glass River Valley Works and many other games. But Andrew, this is his like personal, want to tell this story, want to write books. And it's really exciting. Actually, it's really neat to know that leading into this campaign is already partnered with Stonemaier to make the game of the book, which means you've got this thing that it's already got a built-in way that it's going to come to life, which I think
it's going to be a series of games, apparently.
Yeah, I think it said up to 6 games.
Yeah, I love the idea that they're building this massive world.
Yeah.
And one of my favorite things is they've got these they look like mice hidden in the book, and you can sort of find them. But also that as part of the Kickstarter, there's these promos for all of the games he's illustrated that they would fit in.
Yeah. With
There's
that
an Everdell one, a Flow one, like Flocked. Was it Flocked Kill? I don't know.
Yeah, I think so.
Which of course I had to go for that level because I've got to have every Everdell promo under the sun. So.
And they're doing really well. That campaign, I think, is 11 days ago. They've smashed their goal, so it's happening. The book's happening, and I saw the book at RageCon, and there's really gorgeous pictures in there.
Yeah.
So someday I would love to work with Andrew, as he knows that. I've told him. So
he's got. I mean, I'd love to know how fast he draws. Is he like Sandara? Is he, because she's so fast? It's intimidating.
Yeah.
I'm just curious. It doesn't mean anything. You can be as slow as you want as an artist. I'm just curious when you work on that scale with a game, like how he approaches it. Does he work in the same way? I just think it's really interesting to see how different artists approach this sort of practical project.
Yeah, one of the interesting conversations I had with Andrew at RageCon is that because we were talking about Unconscious Mind, because I had seen Johnny Pack, who was there, who's the developer of that game, and I know that's one that people are anticipating also. And I said something about Unconscious Mind, and he said that he was so busy, the only way he could do that game was by partnering. And I said, but ironically, that makes it even better. I mean, like it would have been an awesome game if it was just Andrew Bosley, but the fact that it's Dutrait and Bosley in this like duality, oh my God. So
I wonder what Sandara and Bosley would look like.
That's when I started, like immediately after that, I was like, oh my God, I should do these mashups. We should have
how good would that look? Oh my goodness.
Yeah. So I did tell him that we have a game, something that we're not going to be announcing at this stream, but we have a game that has some duality to it that we are anticipating getting in the pipeline. And if we do that, that would be really fun to take 2 artists. In fact, I have done this before with, I was the art director on Dwellings of Eldervale, and we had 8 artists, each one doing a different aspect. So like fire was done by all one person, and air was done all by one person. And that was really interesting to have these things merge. For artists, we had a shared channel where artists could share their rough drawings with the other artists, which was my favorite part about working on that project, was seeing those. Like, you know, Sandara was not in that one. I had Leisha Hannigan, and some of the artists were saying to me, I've always looked up to Leisha Hannigan. She's one of my heroes. And to be in an art channel with her where I'm sharing my rough and she's sharing her rough and we're working on art together was for them really kind of fulfilling.
Yeah, that's awesome. That would be really cool. More artists, the better.
More artists, the better. In fact, I also worked on a project with Manny at Breaking Games called Sparkle Kitty Nights, which Sparkle Kitty had only one artist Leah, and Sparkle Kitty Knights. Manny was like, well, let's have a bunch of artists together, and they each had a different style, which was okay because each knight was from like a different multiverse coming into it, so it kind of worked. Very different styles. Really neat to do that one. Yeah, Sandara was in that one actually.
Still need to play Sparkle Kitty.
Yeah, we should play sometime. Next time you're in the States.
Yeah, next time I'm hanging out there. Yeah.
Yeah, right. Look at that. Sparkle Kitty's art is great. Yeah. Leah Santos did the original, and oh my god, it's fantastic art. One of the things that I really loved about that too is, and I've had this philosophy on games in general, is that each game is waiting to this like story waiting to be told. And there was a time when I was working at a company and they wanted to standardize all the art across all the games, and I said that is the wrong idea. I love when I see a really funky art style out there for a game. For example, there's a game that Brad and I both think is unbelievable art, and that is Cryo, which is not a game that we made, but we really appreciate the fact that Cryo's got a style. It's a really interesting style. But there's tons like that. I mean, I think I've said this on this stream. I really like Kyle Farron. I really like Root. I really like Vast. Vast is like, it's like
I wish Root was the game I want it to be for me. Like I know it's a great game. I'm sure it is. It's just more than I want it to be a very different game. The art's telling me something else.
Mark has Cryo, he's saying, which it's a beautiful game, and then we also have a hello from our puzzle maker, Retro Milena. That's awesome. Hey, happy Friday!
Yay. Let us know if you've done any good puzzles or escape rooms, Richard.
That's right. We need to hear from Rich. Actually, I have something that I've been talking to Rich about. It's just a tangent, but I'll mention it since he's here. Is that we are trying to get some of the companion cards from Flamecraft signed by every single companion. Rosie's dog. Woohoo!
I know. Thanks, Dobby.
Moment, but I was talking to Rich about possibly signing his dragon, which would be really fun.
Yeah, that would be awesome.
So yeah, just to go back to the art conversation, there was this really funny moment with Kyle, which was I really appreciated Kyle, and it was before Vast had taken off, and I said, I really want to work on a game with you. I love your art. And he said, oh, I would be happy to. And I had this idea of working on a pirate game with Kyle, and he was like, oh, I really want to do pirates. And then at that moment, he got the call from Leader Games, like, do you want a permanent position? And then he couldn't do it anymore. I was like, oh, I'm so sad. In fact, I've had some of those moments where really good artists, really talented folks it's natural that they would find themselves soon enough, they're booked and they've got plenty of things. In fact, I have to get in line to go talk to Andrew. But that's fine. I love those kind of, I love those working relationships. We can't wait to work with more artists. That's part of what, if there's nothing else we take away from Cardboard Alchemy, it's definitely, the games have to present, they have to be great games, but they also have to be compelling experiences on the table. Art is a huge part of that. Oh, and Rich has answered your puzzle question.
Ooh, I'm actually waiting for an online puzzle game called Grand Hunt Digital to start in an hour or so.
I'll go.
That sounds awesome.
Rich does fun things, you know what I mean?
Yeah. I'm actually in the process of planning I really doubt any of my friends and family who are coming to my wedding are watching this, so if you're listening, sort of. But basically, we're planning this like puzzle trail across the wedding.
Oh yeah.
And there's going to be like a little passport and stamp.
Beyonce is good at those things.
Yeah, so Doug will be doing. I'm doing the sort of hiding things. But I'm excited. So maybe I'll get Rich involved on get his thoughts. Let's make it harder.
Nice. What is everybody? So we were just talking, about, it's the weekend. It's coming up. So are you playing anything this weekend?
Yes, everyone tell us if you're playing anything.
Yes,
I'm sure I'm playing a million things.
People are playing it. I have something. I have two things that I'll talk about, but I want to ask you first.
What am I playing? I'm playing Lorcana, because set 5 just launched, so we're playing that,
Ooh, set 5
unsurprisingly.
is launched, eh? Oh, that's cool.
Shimmering Skies.
Nice.
I don't even know if Sandara drew anything because she's drawn for the last 2 sets, so I'm curious if she has. And it's all like festivals and stuff, which is fun. I'm going to be playing. There's a stack of games. I probably will. I'm very tempted to crack open Andromeda's Edge again and give Doug a chance.
Yes, Andromeda's Edge.
I had it in my lounge set up for 2 days.
What was the last faction that you played in Andromeda's Edge?
Refugees.
The Pulse War Refugees. That was one of our OG factions. Like when we were first testing the game, we only had like them and the warmongers, and like that was when Luke was just starting to get the whole figure out what was going on. The refugees are great. I particularly love that, and I know you said this didn't happen to you in your game, but when you are running out of cards, when you could spend the cards to get a card every round because they always fill up to a hand of 3.
Yeah, so I think what I got in my head was, okay, this is a card. I'm playing it card heavy. That's what I'm doing because of this. But because I got loads of cards, and so I rarely went down below. And even because I went up the Civ track, I got the 6-hand one, and then I was like, great, fill them up. So, and it kind of is, the Civ track is one of the ones it kind of tells you to use. So I had a lot of cards. So thank you, Refugees, for helping me sort of drive my goals. But I did appreciate when I lost a fight being able to go up Supremacy. That was nice.
Yeah.
Though I did avoid fights mostly.
Andromeda's Edge is on my list as well because there's some folks who I met recently who are big fans of Dwellings, and they play Dwellings every Friday night. So they found out that we were making Andromeda's Edge, and we were talking, and they were like, would you bring it to our Friday night game? I was like, sure, I'll bring Andromeda's Edge. Why not? I happen to have a copy right here. Sorry, I can't bring it to everyone's table tonight, but I'm going to bring it to somebody's table, and I'm going to teach it, which I love teaching that game. And we're going to find out what people think on their very first go of that game.
And I just unboxed the standard, which is awesome. I filmed it, so there'll be an unboxing of that for everyone and a reboxing. And it's my head, it's almost like 2 different games. The idea of like this huge box, and you put it on a table, and you're like, I know this is going to be a massive game, but the size of the standard, you could go, yeah, sure, let's flip that open. Let's look, and it's almost like a TARDIS. I find that fascinating how much you fit into that box, and just the way people are going to treat them so differently. You're not going to bring the big one everywhere because unless you're a weightlifter like Ellie, but I think people are just going to. It's so compact. You could just. It's heavy though. It's deceptive.
It's really funny about how that whole thing came about. How Andromeda came into 2 sizes is really fascinating because on Dwellings of Eldervale, when we were making it, we had the conceived notion that there would be 1 box for the game and 1 box for the deluxe and 1 box for the legendary. And then when we were crowdfunding that, everyone spoke up in that campaign and said, I don't want 3 boxes. I would like you to put everything into 1. And I was like, but then it will be very big. It will be big whether you have the small, whether you have the compact amount of content or you have all of the content. And people were like, I don't care. I want it big. I want it big. Let's do it big. Let's have it. And then very few people voted against that. I have heard from those people since. They've like, you never taken my vote. But I was like, no, we went and tried to get everyone's opinion on that. And everyone kept saying, let's do the whole thing. But then when a game has to go into retail, that is a very big obstacle for retail, like the whole thing. Not I could take a part or I could take a out loud. Thank you for being here. If you enjoy big boxes, we're here for you. But I really, really wanted, I kept hearing on crowdfunding campaigns, I feel there's a barrier for me to get into all these games because there's big box, big box, big box, big box. I can't get every game if they're going to do that.
Yeah.
And I thought about it, and then we were partnered with Lucky Duck Games, and of course, it was really important that we give Lucky Duck a very powerful, like a good retail type game. And I looked around at other games, and it was like Beyond the Sun is $80, which is, by the way, Beyond the Sun is an amazing sci-fi game. I love that game. And I was like, look at that box. It's so And I love Clans of Caledonia. I don't know if you've ever played that one, but Clans
Of
of
it.
Caledonia is like all the game packed in the tiniest box you could possibly pack that game into. And I kept thinking about how if we could make a game that was compact and tight, it just had all of the Lori, Luke, and Maximus gameplay with none of the extra. I know I love the extra stuff, but like we could just make that. That would be everyone would have their choice. You could get
Yeah.
you could get the thing that said, "Listen, I don't need all this extra stuff." And I wish Hungry Gamer was in the chat right now because I will tell you that at RageCon I had both boxes with me, and we were playing and stuff like that. And he was like, "What is that box?" And I was like, "Well, that's the standard." And he's like, "I like this box. I like the size. It's perfect for my shelf." So they're
How
gonna
many
be
people do you think are going to buy, if they love it enough, 2 copies? So that they have one for travel. This is the travel size
This is
version.
the travel size version. Yeah, yeah. I should
But
almost
I love how you've designed everything to fit like dual use, because in the obviously the minis fit on top of the bases, but also the art slots in as well, which is just and it's so smooth. Like it doesn't normally like when I get those little bases, it like damages them or they're like in, but it's just so smooth
oh,
and
that was a whole conversation. Speaking
I
of
can imagine.
like, I mean, Drama's Edge took 1.5 plus years to make, right? And in that was we had Luke had made these wooden developments, which are he had very temporary developments. And we were like, well, it's not going to be like that, but what is it going to be like? So we started working on the buildings, we started modeling them. And we played for many, many months with the modeled buildings. And then we were like, wait, what is it like when it's just a cardboard standee? And then I said, I don't want that pinching. I don't want these to wreck. You have to pull them out every game.
Yeah.
So I was like, so I went back to the plant. We came up with all sorts of ideas, including there was going to be this plastic part added to the cardboard that inserted in, and we did this thing of like all these different like ideas. In the end, we decided to make the transport have an insert, and then the transport has a small taper that doesn't pinch. I really am impressed with how they pulled this
It's
off.
like butter. It's like butter. And I never thought I'd describe a game as like butter.
But yes, building and development feels very smooth, which we're very happy about. I think the manufacturing on Andromeda's Edge nailed it. It's a
Yeah.
different vibe still because you're not actually inserting something into a city, but it is boiling the action down to its simplest. I think the other thing that was surprising to me is we had to lose game trays in that version. And I think I enjoy both. I honestly think I love the system of game trays. I love it, and I was actually unboxing the all-in box I just showed you, and as I got to that top layer, and it's just all the raiders and buildings, and I was like, "This is so epic!"
Yeah,
I
yeah.
cannot wait for that moment for everyone to see this, just all the epicness. But at the same time, I really enjoy how the game got tight and compact, and it fits. And one of the things that was interesting about the Andromeda's Edge, something that this is a manufacturing challenge that happens every game. In fact, it is going to be a large part of my next Critter Kitchen update because this is a puzzle, not the kind of puzzle Rich makes, but the kind of puzzle that we have to solve every game, which is when the manufacturing plant makes a game and fits it in a box, they are thinking about different goals than you are. They are trying to make sure it arrives at a doorstep with unpunched components in such a way that they don't get damaged. And we're trying to make the box fit punched components that store logically together in certain ways that you get great, experience gameplay.
Yeah.
And one of the things they did not do this plant when they were making Drop's Edge is they did not allow the expansion to fit in it. And I said, we're going back to the drawing board until the expansion fits. And they're like, but why do you need the expansion to be in this box? And I'm like, because life does not exist as two things shipped to me. Life exists as I merge them all together and I start playing with the thing that I bought and the other thing that I bought, right?
Absolutely.
It was a big puzzle.
I'm not saying there are some companies who have made. I've got many expansions that live separately.
I know.
And it does drive me a little bit bananas.
It's not a requirement, right? It's not like you have to do it.
It's not a requirement, but I do love it when they do fit because
It's a
There's
quality
this like
upgrade.
But do you keep the boxes though? Do
I
you
do.
keep the
I'm such a
I've got all of the expansion boxes for Everdell just on the top of my bookcase, just on the top. One, because I never know if I need it for a video. That's a valid excuse. I may be
Yeah,
like,
there
this
you
is
go.
Mistwood, but I have had them since before Cozy Board Games existed. So, so I do know that I just like they're just beautiful. And I thought maybe we could frame them. We'll put them on the
I know it's always a lie to yourself. I know it. I know the lie because I've had it. I actually was just what was the game it was? I think it was well, definitely Arnak expansion. I still have the box for the expansion, but then all the pieces are in the main game now. I don't need that box, but I still like it. I don't know.
the one that frustrates me the most is Splendor, because Splendor
Oh,
is already unnecessarily large inside, and I have since gotten a 3D printed box from Geeky Meeples, which the base game fits perfectly, and it's now tiny. But the expansion box was the exact same size as the unnecessarily large Splendor box, so they could match on the wall. And I was like, this
uh,
game doesn't need to be this big.
that's so
So
funny.
I have chucked pretty much everything, but the expansion doesn't fit. I don't normally play the expansion anyway. It's just in storage. But I was like, this game could be so good travel wise. You could do a little travel Splendor. Oh, that would be so good. So yeah.
I have by the way, one more game that I'll mention because I'm playing Andromeda's Edge for sure. Something that I might get to the table, I don't know, is I just got Gnome Hollow in the mail. I'm very excited about that one. I
I'm so
pre-ordered.
jealous.
I pre-ordered this so that I could have it as close to the Gen Con craziness that just happened.
I actually don't know how I'm going to get hold of it. That is going to be a very hot game to try and get, I think.
Come to the States, we'll play.
I'm never going to the States. The magnetic board on that looks, and the people
I'm
flipping
very
it.
production-wise, I'm jealous about a lot. I mean, I'm inspired by a lot of the things in that game. We have not done magnets at Cardboard Alchemy, mostly because I've had magnets out of my brain since I heard that several countries have magnet shipping
Yeah.
issues, stuff like that. So I don't normally think about magnets, but I have seen lately in games that they're just getting more and more innovative with definitely the age contrived use of magnets. I don't know if you saw that.
I haven't
That was really interesting because you have these buildings, and as they get built together, they like snap together, and it's really neat that they hold up.
It must be a strength thing, but also by being in a box surrounded by loads of packaging, potentially the magnet just doesn't affect their machines because it's so weak. And you can buy magnets for your fridge online. It can't be
Yeah, I don't
that
exactly.
hard.
I'll have to look into the regulations so that we can get into this market. I do know that I was shipping some things out of Thailand when I was visiting there, and they said, "Is there anything in here that's got batteries that cannot be turned off?" And they said, "Is there was a lot of regulations." And so I know that some Asian countries
Yeah.
do have regulations against magnets. But I guess maybe the type of magnets that are being put in board games are of a magnitude
Yeah.
that's been approved.
Do you think that's potentially the next step in like board upgrade? Because we've got, dual layered boards being this very fancy thing, and they've got some beautiful dual layered boards from Ivy Studios, Mythic Mischief, and all the ones. Do you think magnets is the next thing that we're going to see? Like, are we going to get dual layered magnetic boards?
It feels like it is on that trend. And in fact, there's another Kickstarter we were going to talk about that uses magnets that's called Peacekeepers by a friend of ours, Jewel Laird.
Yes. The next step is 18 karat gold.
Yeah. But Peacekeepers is done by Board Game Tutorials, which actually made us a really amazing Critter Kitchen how to play video. And when Flamecraft was live, and we didn't actually, talk to him at this
Yeah.
time, but he made a really great Flamecraft how to play. And
Yeah.
he's now made what I think are these this is a storage system that has these boxes that can
I
hold
have
it.
the prototype in the other room. It's so bad.
Oh no. You'll have to go. You go get that. I'll go get Andromeda's Edge standard. We'll be able to hold up the things we're talking about. But these are like akin to game trays too. They're like really good containers for any piece, and they come in different sizes. And then you can. He has an example on the campaign. Jason does Flamecraft bits in these Peacekeeper boxes. Now I mentioned the other one, the Smoking Bones, and definitely Andrew Bosley is like a great person and worth supporting. But Peacekeepers is even a bigger need for support because they're not funded, and that's the kind of thing, like, if you want to support a really great independent creative individual that's trying to like make their space in the board game field, this is an amazing person. And we worked with Jason on, like I said, for board game tutorials. We'll probably work with Jason on all our projects because he's just a really great guy.
Yeah,
and
it's really lovely.
Really a creative, innovative guy. So I'm really excited he's launched something. I hope it
And
gets.
stop motion, he does stop motion, and I know how long that takes, and
Yeah,
it's
I'm a big
really
fan of stop
incredible.
motion. Yeah,
What
huge
he's
fan.
doing is incredible. Hard to find him because when you type in board game tutorials, you're gonna get everything under the sun. But
Yeah,
if you look for like Flamecraft, how to play board game tutorials or Career Kitchen, you should find him fairly easily then.
yeah,
But yeah, this new thing is like there's these little boxes that are like different shapes, and then the lids click on, and then they magnet next to each other. So the
yeah,
idea is that you could create organizational systems inside the box of a game, but also you can just bring them out and put them on the table, and you can, basically take those games that have just baggies and utilize them, but also it's not custom fit for that game, so you could decide I'm going to move over to this other game. So I
yeah,
think that's what's really nice about what he's created is the sort of versatility there.
yeah,
So I really hope he reaches his goal. I think it's a great project. There's a lot of organization stuff out there
yeah.
and a lot
It's
of
a
passionate people doing it, and I think it's a worthy cause.
It is, right? We need to keep these. I mean, this luckily Cardboard Alchemy doesn't usually have any need for organizers because we work with game trays, but because we value organization, I can confidently say that I'm for everybody getting whatever system works for them. I mean, I think that I have bought. I've heard of another one, Folded Space, that's doing really well, and I've bought at the time I used to buy Broken Token, and I definitely believe in like how valuable these things are to get your, as Game Trace slogan goes, organize your chaos, and so it's
I view
but
these as more like X-trays that you have
oh,
stacked up in the corner, because I have stacks of those that I just add into a game when I don't have enough trays and stuff. So I think these are quite good for just across the board. You need a bit more organization for anything. Whereas
yeah,
I love a custom insert, obviously. Love a custom insert. Tower X, shout out to some of the best
Counter
wooden
X is
inserts you've ever
great.
seen.
I mean, we are obviously big believers of it because our first campaign in Cardboard Alchemy was to actually have game trays in it because we really, at the time, I took pictures of different games that I was organizing with those trays, including Luke's game, Manhattan Project Energy Empire, which doesn't have trays in it. So this was a really good way of me like going, here's what you could do with these trays. By the way, someone, Matthew mentions Ivy Studios Fractured Sky magnets are really nice. And I think that, like, as awesome as impressed as I am with Gnome Hollow, definitely Fractured Sky makes me go, wow. So I do think that we're going to see, as more of these creative studios say, you know what, we could elevate the play like this and like this. I know that Merchants of the Dark Road has magnets in it. I know that Coloma has a magnet in it.
There's a really silly one called like Pirates of something, where they put magnets in the board, and then the boats have the opposite polarity, the
Oh,
wrong
that's funny.
polarity.
Yeah.
And as you push, I think it's like Pirates of Bermuda or something, but the boards you can place in different orders, meaning you don't know where the magnet's going to be, and you're trying to carefully get a gem from one place to another, but it could just fling the gem out of your boat. And I think that's really clever the way they've gone.
That's
How about
really
the
cool.
magnets don't stick together?
Yeah.
I think it's really clever. I'm sure I've scientifically said that wrong, but don't worry about that.
So, it's funny because there was speaking of how these conversations are kind of funny related in my brain right now, is that I was going to do a top 10 trays in games because I really do appreciate storage systems. I like, it's stupid
That could
obsession.
be our next TikTok.
I mean, I did want to do like my top 10 where I do not include dwellings because I can't, and I will include Andromeda's Edge because we can't. But honorable mentions, I think we've put some of the best ones out there. But I think that, for example, when you talk to people about trays, one of the ones that's always named for number one is Mechs versus Minions. It's an
Oh
amazing,
my goodness, such a beautiful game.
amazing tray. It really changes the game experience when you have a tray that well
I
made.
don't think I even remember setting that game up. I think it was just play. You have the
So
little voice playing for like
What's going in my head now is that eventually we could have top 10 magnet use in games. So now we are getting there where I think there's
if we did it now, we'd be ahead of the curve.
That's right.
We'd just be like,
Okay,
top
next
5
week.
use of magnets. This is going to be huge.
It'd be great if Cardboard Alchemy was then also saying, and this is our next game and it's got magnets in it. So now I'm going to think about how we could get that into one of our games.
I know. And then
I actually do have an idea of how magnets will get into Whisperwood. Although I will say, because Whisperwood is a game that we're working on, I will say that it feels a little odd to put it in a game where, you're trying to preserve the I don't know why it doesn't feel as natural.
I think magnets are fine, aren't they? They're like...
That's true. It's
just rocks, right?
It's a natural thing, magnets.
So if we could make them like rock shaped.
There you go. Yeah, there'll be rock shaped magnets in there. I don't know either, but we'll take all of the suggestions of your best use of magnets in a game so we can work on it for our top 10 list.
Yeah, if anyone's got any, I'm really curious because there are some. It's often there's all the famous one, cluster. Do you know cluster?
I don't know cluster.
You will know it. It's a string, and in the middle is you put a magnet down, and someone else puts a magnet down, and if they stick together, you got to take them back.
Okay, yes, I do know that game. Yeah,
and they're the magnets that when I was a teen and when
Rocky.
And if you put your thumb between them and throw them in the air, they go like they're these like really annoying magnets. And I think Big Potato Games distributed it over here and stuff. But it's like the quickest game that I get bored of very quickly because I'm like, that's it. But it's such a popular game with families because it keeps kids entertained for a really long time. So it's a great pub game, as Gibbon says he says, because it's like waterproof as well. But yeah, it's one of those ones where I'm like, I don't even know how they ship that. Those are very strong magnets. Like
that's actually no, it's funny that you bring that one up because that one actually, when I was working at Breaking Games, the team that makes that game approached Breaking Games about distributing in the United States. And that's when we started looking into how the regulations on magnets were. And that's when we're like, yeah, it seems to, well, not only is it that there are big regulations, but also I don't think at the time Sherry wanted to be responsible if someone ate one of those. I mean, just like it's just you know what I mean? It's also you have to take out more.
I mean,
insurance,
they're
more
very big
warnings. But I know, but someone could do it, and it would be awful, right?
How many games have you made where parts could be eaten?
I mean, okay, let's just put it this way, because I've worked on over 40 games, and some of the pieces have been very small, and there's small pieces in Andromeda's Edge, there's small pieces in Flamecraft, there's small pieces in Critter Kitchen. I would be devastated if I ever heard of anything like that.
So, absolutely, yeah.
Darn thing.
I guess magnets are very dangerous because they can't check them in a machine. They can't go, where is it? Because it would be very, very dangerous. So maybe that's why.
Yeah.
But we have a really fun one here.
We're flying as close to the sun as possible because of the fact that we are making a food-based game. So I hope no one eats anything in Critter Kitchen. Do not be fooled and think that you're serving this.
The art may be delicious, but it's just looking at. It's not for eating, I'm afraid.
Speaking of Critter Kitchen, that's what's been going on in my brain as of late because we are trying to get all the last pieces. I know Peter Hayward is in the chat. Peter C. Hayward and Alex Cutler are our wonderful designers, and I am so excited to make your game. I just want to say that to Peter if he's
he is here, and his girlfriend's favorite game is Cluster.
Oh, that's funny.
He's talking about Cluster Duo. So yeah,
I have this. I'm not going to do too many Critter Kitchen things at the moment but I have this like white box, which is as we're testing these trays. Alex Cutler, never heard of him.
Yeah, who is Alex Cutler? God.
Was that? Yeah, I know, right? So like I had been exposing some of these trays, which we'll do in an update. But there are layers and layers and layers to this tray, which is gonna be a lot of fun.
It's amazing
to reveal. But it's right now lots of back and forth with game trays and with our manufacturer.
It is the puzzle.
Trying to get it just right. We recently made a decision to actually, this is funny because I don't know if it saw this, but we have like black and white trays in Critter Kitchen. We really felt like white was the right color for the player trays, and we really felt like black was the right color for everything else. So it's so I've never usually don't do too many different colors. Although in Andromeda's Edge, there's 6 different colors of trays in there because every player has their own.
Yes.
Every player has their own tray color. And
So you have got black and white in another game.
I do, yes. I don't often. I was gonna say I don't often. You don't often do that. We did all purple in Mission Catastrophe. We did all white in Flamecraft. So now we're branching out. Our storage systems are getting colorful, just like our games.
Everyone will look inside and go, "It's Manda. It's Mandy. It's black and white." Made of
Peter
panda.
says unsubscribes to my comment about I'm not going to do too many Critter Kitchen things. We'll do Critter Kitchen all day if you want. I didn't want to, take over the stream with we do a whole Critter Kitchen stream. You know what people want, by the way? I'll mention this to Peter. People want another heads up play between Peter and Alex is what people want.
They do.
So what we need to do is get the TTS Tabletop Simulator back with all of the latest cards so that we can do another one of those. I really enjoy that.
And we'll do another vote to see who people think's going to win.
Yeah.
I think Alex is aware that he may have to dye his hair. So
it's true. Well, I've taken the hit for him. I've started working on a little bit of color in my hair so that Alex could.
Yeah, I can't see it as well because you're on purple.
I know. It's actually it's hard to see on the stream actually. But I'm drinking the potion is what I.
You need a yellow background, which will.
Yes, that'll pop the purple. Yes, absolutely.
I was talking to Alex saying he started finding dyes. I was talking to Alex. I was saying hair chalk exists, and he's like, "Yes, hair chalk because it's non-permanent. You can just wash it out."
Yes, that's what it needs to do. Yeah.
There was a couple of questions. There was a question about.
We didn't post up what people were playing, and we didn't post questions. Let's go to whatever we got.
I like baking, and I'm great at cakes with colors and shapes, but I have a problem with cookies. The dough is sticky or crumbly. Do you have a recipe? If the dough's too sticky, you genuinely add the tiniest amount of flour to make it the right. It's better if it's too sticky, but also if you just dip your cutters into flour and then cut them out.
Mm-hmm.
So you're basically adding a non-stick agent.
Yeah.
If it's too crumbly, it'll be dry and it might break. So you're better off with a slightly sticky. I do have a recipe. There will be a recipe included on the recipe cards. And I say it's mine. It's like an amalgamation of mine and my baking friends.
So in our Critter Kitchen add-ons, there's a recipe card pack, and Rosie donated this. She's put this recipe in there so that everyone can start baking the best cookies when they get their.
I did also use ready-made gingerbread dough from the stores, and because gingerbread also isn't meant to spread because you need to build houses out of it. It actually works quite well as well. So, and also shortbread works really well because it's designed not to spread. So,
we also have in the Critter Kitchen recipe cards, we have a recipe from Peter Hayward. We also have a recipe from this person we didn't know before, Alex Cutler, put in a chili recipe.
Who is he? The audacity.
It was really fun because, I was putting in a recipe for some carrot bread. It's in there. So we're going to have some biscuits from Peter. He just shouted that out. So we're going to have some fun. You get in the Critter Kitchen recipe cards, which, by the way, this is not a game topic, but you know what I mean. We go off on whatever we want to talk about. But in Critter Kitchen, we have all this merch. And one of the things we did is recipe cards. It feels fitting to the game. And we have 72 blank cards. And you get, I want to say 10 custom recipes, some of which are from fans, which is really fun too. We had a whole submit recipes on the Kickstarter, which is one of the neatest things. I think my fond memories of that game is when Rosie first came on, we did a what are you cooking, or what's a recipe you want to share, and then that turned into let's get everyone's recipes for actually putting in the Kickstarter, which I really like.
Yeah, I think the channel on Facebook started as a recipe channel.
Yeah,
the amount of food things, and I need to start that up again when we're at the point.
A lot of fun. I really liked seeing it was always making me hungry when I came on to Facebook.
Maybe we need a foodie Thursday, foodie Friday, where everyone shares their favorite meal of the week.
Or recipe on Friday. We'll take it into the stream and discuss who's making it. Then we'll come back and we'll say who made the thing.
The streams are 11 a.m. for you. So
I know.
That's why I was like foodie Thursday.
I mean,
or Tummy
This is
Tuesday. So many options.
the funny thing about me and food, which is I'm a foodie. I'm absolutely into food, and I made my very first game that I made was called What the Food, a food fight to the death. Um, and I was gonna make another food game after that, and someone said, "Is that all you do is food games?" I'm like, "No, no, that's not it." So I don't know if it was an easy sell when Peter came to say, "Do you want a game called Critter Kitchen?" I was like, "Yes." Um, but I also, it's funny we talked about top tens. I would love to do. I told you this about doing TikToks where I pair. I still want to do pairings of games and food. Just love that. I love thinking about a game night from every angle, including what music, what
Oh
food,
yeah.
what
I do
game.
have a TikTok that's like creating like the immersive Flamecraft evening where I made a bunch of Flamecraft themed snacks and set dressed it. And yeah, it's very important to me. Even when we watched Game of Thrones, a bunch of our mates, we would have one person's job was to cook a themed meal.
Mhm.
And I made a shepherd's pie, which is a load of mince meat with veg and then like potatoes on top, like mashed potatoes. But I piped the mashed potatoes to be the Viper and the Mountain because that was the episode we were watching
That's
with
cool.
like carrot dyed mash. And then we got it out the oven and I forgot because I'd spent so long turning it around with cold mash, I forgot. And I just put my hand straight onto this and I just burnt right across my hand. I spent the entire evening with just ice.
Man,
It was still worth it. It was a really good shepherd's pie. But
I love shepherd's pie.
I love
How?
a themed like food.
Yes. Um, Yeah, that's we have to do this. And it was funny because Peter was joking about Andromeda's wedge of cheese, instead of Andromeda's edge. And I will say that there is another pun coming. We've been revealing the secret menu that's in Critter Kitchen in all of our updates, and we have revealed one already that was playing off of our first game, Mission Catastrophe, and Sandara made Mission Charcuterie, which was very funny. And then we did Fishcraft as one of the secret menus. And there's an Andromeda's Edge one coming up, which is gonna be really fun.
Have
Um,
you
yes. By the
if you
way,
made like a
wait, sorry, 100%. We have to go get pie. I have to get pie now because it's been proposed. 100%. We're getting pie tomorrow. Yes, let's solve
man,
that. Just come, come to the U.S. We'll solve all these things.
I can't even eat most of your pies.
I know.
I
I'm
just
sorry
have to eat my
about that.
shepherd's pies and my cottage pies.
God, shepherd's pie
Um,
is so good. All right.
yeah, I was just curious, like because we have an affinity with potatoes. Um, what are the things that like signify like Cardboard Alchemy that would go into like a mini game? Because Stonemaier Games made their little mini game that was all of their games rolled into one. Would it have to be like potato mini game or like I just like Blorp Johnson and the potatoes? I'm just trying to work out like what would be
Well, we
the
did.
things you'd pull together.
I have had this moment where I've said like, what are some things that have gone through the games, right? Um, we had a while there where we had potatoes in Mission Catastrophe. We did have a potato in Flamecraft. I think the streak was broken though on potatoes and Andromeda's Edge and Critter Kitchen. Neither of which Critter Kitchen was like ready to go for potatoes. But you know
You
what?
missed the boat on that potato.
I know because it was like we could have. And not only that, Peter, who's in the chat, will tell everyone about how he did make a cart that was fries, and I was like, well, we have to greenlight that because I love fries and I love potatoes. But then for some reason, we already had tons of carts, and we were. I don't know if everyone saw how many we unlocked, but it's 18 carts. We had to make some choices, hard choices.
18 is your favorite number, obviously.
I mean, obviously 18 factions. So that there's another thoroughfare, right? Do we have 18 of something in Flamecraft? We do, right? We have 18. Okay, I'm sure we can find the. We have 18 enchantments. No, we have more than that, but we have 18 in each deck. But another fun thoroughfare we were talking about is I guess purple has made it through everything because Mission Catastrophe
True.
has a purple character, and Flamecraft has a purple character, and Andromeda's Edge has a purple faction, and Critter Kitchen, of course, does have the ability to play purple. So we've at least something. So if we were to bring this to food, I guess we'd have to have some.
There are purple potatoes.
Yes, we'd
They
have to.
exist.
There we go.
I'm sure Sandara's drawn potatoes into the art for Flamecraft and Critter Kitchen. I'm sure there's potatoes. There's potatoes definitely in the garden top shop.
Actually, I know there's potatoes in Critter Kitchen. I will tell you, I know how that has happened because she drew a critic for Peter. Specifically, was she wanted to put a kangaroo in the game because we were putting a little nod to Australia there, and so there was a kangaroo critic who I believe is holding up a plate of food that includes mash. I think there's some. I don't know what dish this is, but I do believe there is mashed potatoes
There's at
on.
least 2 representations of potato knocking around. I'm sure of it.
Andromeda's Edge, I think, is where it falls.
It might do. Yeah, that may be a problem. Maybe one day we release a potato promo.
Actually,
like
Luke
potato faction.
told me he was working on an expansion that would involve some terraforming. Maybe you're planting potatoes. Who knows? You know what I mean?
There you go. There you go.
There you go. That's how we're gonna pull it together.
Love a potato.
I also really like. This is just a fun thing that we're starting to notice. Is I like how potions are obviously, Cardboard Alchemy has a potion in our logo, and Sindara was really nice on the Flamecraft game. She actually put our logo on a shop sign in the cover. It's really sweet. And then in Critter Kitchen, she put a big potion bottle in the Midnight Merchants crate of goods, which I thought was really cute.
Yeah, I picked that up for my wall.
There is a potion symbol on the promo cards for Critter Kitchen and all as well. And I think well, definitely it was really fun as there we go. Thank you, Peter. With there's at least fries in the game because we do have it in the solo.
You got to defeat the potato overlords.
The potion bottle that I noticed recently is that Brad's working on Whisperwood with Chris and Aaron, the 3 designers there, and they've got a resource in Whisperwood that's potions, which I really love. So possibly at some point we'll make some smaller box game that's like just potion themed. I really think that'd be fun.
Potion making. I like that.
Gotta have the alchemy represented. Returning cardboard into all sorts of fun.
Got a question from Matthew. Do we have a time frame on new Andromeda's Edge gameplay videos?
Let's see. We are going to. This will probably come out more in the next update. We are going to. So we know that the games are arriving. We know that Tim Chewin is working on a how to play. We believe that'll be up the end of this month, right as the month starts. I think we're working on the exact date of when his video will be available. But that should be a really good look at Andromeda's Edge. And then Rosie and I are gonna fill out some of the gaps with some more. We're gonna put like a whole how to set up, or we're gonna do something. Rosie's already got an unboxing reboxing. She was mentioning
2 different ones. So
yeah. So we're gonna cover, how to get it to your table. And then we're doing these faction videos. I don't know if everyone's seen those, but their flavor of like, ooh, which one do you want to play? How do you want to play the Astrodrakis? Do you want to play? I believe we've got Darkstar Acolytes coming up next. Actually, Darkstar Acolytes we could put out today, right?
I did it.
Yeah, excellent. Darkstar Acolytes is out today.
I just posted it in the Andromeda's Edge Facebook group, and it's up on our YouTube.
That's 4 videos then.
It's a really fun process because Peter films. I don't know how you talk fluidly for 5 minutes without making any mistakes. I don't understand because I will film my own things and I talk for half an hour and I get a 1-minute video. So when I'm editing, yes, I cut out ums and stuff, of course, but I barely have to take off 10 seconds, if that, which is amazing. And then I just add in these little shots of explaining what things are going on.
A lot of fun to make those.
Yeah. Do you just how many times do you do the 5 minutes? Let's be honest. Is it first run?
It ranges from, I would say if I get a groove, I think the Arcanoan was done in 3 takes, but I think the Astrodrakis was 7 to 10 takes because if I'm halfway through and I'm oh, what was my point on that? And I kind of lose it. I go, you know what? I want to usually then I'm in the, I love to talk about, I love to talk about games, but I definitely love to talk about the factions at Andromeda's Edge. So it's not hard for me to get into oh my God, I want to play this one. I want to play this one.
Yeah.
I think the content makes it easy. But I
Yeah,
love
yeah.
what you're doing
Having
with
a
it.
lot of fun with them.
I love what you're doing with them. I think that it's just boggling that there's 18. We've only covered 4 so far.
Mm.
It's just unbelievable how many you could play when you think about what you can do in that game, and you're like, "Oh, this time I'm gonna do this one." And I usually, when people are playing a faction in that game, I'm at the start of the game already coveting all of their factions. I'm like, I'm excited about my faction, but I'm like, "Oh, I love that one. I love that one."
Yeah, I what happens is I think I was checking through it before I was playing so that I could check for any additional shots I could get.
This
And
is true.
then
By the way, this is true.
Heyo! Yeah, I was checking through it and I was listening to it, and then Doug handed me my 3, and I was like, "Didn't get any of these faction what didn't get any of the ones who got faction videos on." And I said to Doug, "Do you want to pick one that's," and he's like, "No, no, I'll be the cloud people." We're not there yet. We're in A's.
Yeah, I know. We're going alphabetical, everybody, so you could kind of guess what we're doing.
I figured people might be able to guess after a little while.
Yeah, yeah. But Axel says, I like how you start all the faction videos, which is a nod to one of my favorite videos ever put on the internet for games, which is a Heroescape video where, if everyone's seen that one, the guy, I wish I knew his name actually, he says, the best thing about Hero Quest are the minis. The best thing about Hero Quest is the tiny furniture. It's so good. Oh my God, it's the best video that's ever been made about a game. Seriously. Hands down, my favorite video and energy that's ever been put into a game. In fact, I did contact him to ask him if he would do that for one of the games I was making at Breaking Games, and he responded with, "No, I only do that for games that are like Heroescape, that they're deserving like Heroescape."
The nichest
And
of the niche.
I was like, well, maybe we should send him an Andromeda's Edge, because how do we know that Andromeda's Edge is the best thing about Andromeda's Edge are the game trays? I would
Love
love it
that.
if
I
he
love
did
it.
that.
I'll
But
just
so
start every TikTok with the best thing.
yeah, it's a good energy is all I'm saying.
Yeah.
I but it also captures how I feel about these factions. I really do get excited about this game. I really do get excited about this. Is the same way I feel about Critter Kitchen when there's, and Peter knows this, but when you get like a critic and there's just like, oh, I want to play that critic and I want to play that critic. And there's a critic that we put as a promo card, the Chimera, which allows you to play 2 critics at once, which is now my absolute favorite because I get more critics.
Chaos.
I'm a big fan of big fan of variable player powers and variability in games. The fact that in Critter Kitchen we not only have, all of these critics, all of these player powers, but that you temporarily can get a zoo chef animal up to 36 different ones with a new power and get that going in the game. It's just ridiculous. It's like
I
powers
hope
upon
we
but
I hope we
powers.
have like a Mark Dandridge of Critter Kitchen who wants to play every variability and logs it all. I just want to hear it because I don't think I've got like the mental
Kitchen would
space
be
to
in
do that.
a really challenging, like, because you already know that if you played Critter Kitchen, the critics would be a limiter of, like, unique games, right? So you play every single critic. But then imagine playing there was someone who wrote us a letter one time doing the math, which was like you play every
Yeah,
single
it was amazing. You can go
and you
back
play
and watch
every
a while ago.
restaurateur. If you have every restaurateur and every critic and every sous chef show up, what are the permutations of that? And it was beyond my abilities to calculate that math. So
I put it to you, public. Someone out there will
I'll
do
just
this
someone
and
will help us.
assess what is the best combo.
That would be really fun to do when Critter Kitchen comes out also, is post, like, because the way that you just talked about how you get dealt 3 factions in Andromeda's Edge, you have to pick. So normally things just deal out. So in Critter Kitchen you get 6 sous chefs, but you could engineer the game to have the 6 sous chefs that you think go best with the critic you've picked and the powers you've picked. And I'd love to see someday if someone said, these are the 3 best carts with the, like, we didn't do this in the book because we weren't trying to say that, oh, you should play with balloons and this critic and these sous chefs. But I do think that's going to come up as game variants or game setups where it's like, oh, I'm playing with all the characters that can kind of mess with the bag. I'm playing with all the characters that kind of add a +1 or a -1 to serving the final meal. I'm playing with all, like, there's a lot of different ways you can experience Critter Kitchen, and we haven't engineered it to be any particular way out of the gate. We've more just let it be organic. But I think some people will say my favorite carts are these, and my favorite critic is this, and my favorite sous chefs are these, and that game will be really fun to see what people put that in.
We could make a BGG post saying underneath, put the combo that you played and any like notes on it, and then people could say, I had this, and this, and this is how the game went, and this is what the play style was like, and see if people start just adding their
their game. The critics can wildly change how the end game goes. For example, and this happened in the head-to-head matches where we had Alex and Peter. If you have someone like the pig, she allows 2 things to be served. I believe there's also something she does. There's another twist with her as well. And so it just the scores go bigger, right? So you could have certain combos of things where the scores are very high and certain combos of things where you'd be lucky to scrape by a certain score. And in those scenarios, it would be kind of interesting someday to do, maybe not necessarily a tournament, maybe a tournament where it's like you have to play in these conditions and see how high you can get.
Yeah.
So there's a good question about the solo, about whether or not there's going to be achievements in there. It's not built the same way as Flamecraft in that there's achievements. But as Rosie's saying, we might do some threads on BGG where maybe we could do some threads on our Discord where we say, who has played, what critics have you beat, what did you have in there, so that other people could try that and say, like, let's see if I can get that same challenge. In a way, we could create those achievements among our community, which would be pretty neat to do. So let's come.
Thank you, Dobby. Thank you for that note. Thank you so much.
Now that we're talking about Critter Kitchen, I want to play it right now.
We do have people did say what they were playing this weekend, so I should put those up.
Go back to that. Yes.
So I've got Comic Hunters.
Nice.
Mark was playing Everdell right now, and I'm like, are you not playing Dwellings? I'm sorry.
No, he's actually hit over 500 games. He's done.
Oh, he did say you need to finish 10 for 10. So maybe that's for Everdell.
There you go. Yeah, you're gonna get those done.
Axel is teaching Darwin's Journey on PGA.
I actually learned Darwin's Journey from Axel online. Yeah, we played it.
That's awesome. Stephanie just received Why You Like This. The initiative. I think that was all of them. If I missed any, just put it in the comments of the video.
I like that Stephanie said that we have to do a potion game, probably an 18-card game in a purple wallet.
I did finish a game, a campaign game. I think it's called, what's the city one where you like stick stuff down on the board? I can't remember the name of it. But like basically, you basically go through the period of like industrialization. Where you start with like just the leafy ground and slowly you're building stuff and factories and things. And we did it on BGA and we took so long because my friends have very young children, and we did just finish it, but we forgot so many new rules. And people are going to remind me what it's called. It's called something City. Doug's probably screaming. But it was I think it was a Thames and Cosmos game. They did it. It's called My City. My City.
I had it.
And then there's My Island now as well, but it's a game that
I've heard it's really good.
The board. And it's really good. It's literally polyamorous pieces, fitting them in, but your landscape changes. So you're sticking stuff down and you can't cover things up, and then you have to get all your factories in a line, or you have to go along a train line. It changes. Don't play it over a year. Finish it quicker than me.
By the way, Mike says aloha. That's fun. Welcome to the stream.
Or goodbye, because it means the same thing, right?
I know. Yeah, well, it's true. It's actually.
I learned that from Miss Congeniality. So.
It's actually the hour. The hour is almost up, but we were talking about My City. I have heard that's a good game. So
I've now got My City Roll and Write, which I'm now going to play, so there's no spoilers, because I don't want to spoil it for my friends and get ahead of them. I don't know if you've had that where you're like, playing a campaign game with friends, and you're like, I can't know the future of it
Yeah.
ahead of them.
Yeah.
So
No, that's true. We didn't talk about Flamebound in this stream, but there are some elements of Flamebound that we'll talk about as we get to Flamebound that are going to be. We're actively trying to make it so that it's not one of those games that you can only play with, like you start it and then if you're not playing with the same people, you can't keep going or something. I definitely know that that's one of the issues sometimes when you make a game that feels like, well, we have to continue with this group. Now you might still do it anyway. You might say, well, we'll wait till those people are free and let's go again. But we don't want to make it sort of a requirement or that it's too constrained that you feel like you have
yeah,
to.
they're definitely different. I think there's no permanently altering. That's for sure.
There's no permanently altering. We're also avoiding that because we know
Yeah.
that, particularly our fan base of dragon lovers might not want to like alter something forever.
Yeah, I like just cut that card in half. No, you
I
know what?
personally don't have that issue, and I would love to someday make a game where there is a resource that you're tearing up because I think it's a fascinating. There was a one time when I wanted to do it where I wanted to have it where you make a game that there's a resource that people consume, and then you get people to go online and put their total of that resource that has been consumed in all the games that are being played, and then that determines the value of that resource in everybody's game. I was just like, this it would be fun to make some kind of thing where your game and someone else's game have an interactivity together. It's sort of random, crazy ideas that I sometimes want to do.
I haven't played Sleeping Gods, but I do need to because I
Sleeping
love.
Gods is yeah, it's a really fun. I mean, you like the
I
the
love Ryan Laukat.
yeah.
I think it's one of those ones where it was a lot bigger than his normal games that I buy from him.
It is pretty big. I will say,
Um,
there's so much
and
content in
we
that
did
game.
Near and Far, my friends and I, and that again took us like a year. And on our last one, we all dressed up as our characters. But like, yeah, I love Near and Far. I love Above and Below, and there was another one after that. That was another two words together, I think. But it's really clever way of format. But I friends had kids, lost my group.
No, it's
You
tough.
do. What can you do?
Yeah.
You know. But yeah, no, I love campaign games. I love
Yeah.
stories and things and stuff changing and transforming. But yeah, it's
Me
good fun.
too. And so yeah, we will save that discussion on Flamebound for another one of these streams. Right now, we'll wrap it
Now
up.
or never. Yeah,
Oh,
it was
there we
now
go.
or never.
Thank you, Matthew.
Thank you. What else could he do? I'm just trying to like
I know that's a fun. That's a fun.
left or right.
Yeah, there we go. I was trying to think some of his other games, and I remember there's one called Megaland. Did you ever see that one?
No.
Yeah, he's made a lot of different games actually.
There's thousands of games.
We gotta start playing them. So everyone, okay, we want you to go forth and play games. That should be an easy mission for this group.
Play lots of games. I think my partner's playing a lot of some war-based video game for 7 hours tomorrow. So I might have to do some solo games. Yeah, it's Heroes or something. I can't remember. You pick like a country and then you fight. Normal stuff. Hearts of Iron, like that. Hearts of Iron. So he does that for a while. It's just like when he plays trucks, where you just a truck driving stuff around and it all gets in the mud, and it's like 6 hours of truck driving. So I might play some solo games or sleep some games. I need to learn the solo. Maybe.
Oh yeah.
Need to learn the solo.
Well, the solo is also on. We just like log in and I'll coach you through the solo if you want.
That'd be fun.
Yeah. All right, everybody. Enjoy your weekend is what we're saying. And
comment below. I think officially today has to be potato. We've talked about potatoes a lot.
Your favorite permutation of a potato food.
Yeah.
All
favorite type of potato.
Favorite type of